There you are, you beautiful people. Oh, that's better. So in, so in this video, it's inspired by a comment from a subscriber that left a great comment last time, a great question. Steve, thank you so much, man. The question, the comment is here or here, wherever I'm going to put it. He's basically asking, did God create the ego? Also, I wonder whether the work of getting rid of the ego becomes another job for the ego. Anyway, thank you. He left this comment on, obviously, another video, and I just want to tackle the two main points he was asking. Really good questions, especially the second one. This whole thing about ego in spirituality, killing the ego, destroying the ego, you don't have to do this, guys. There's a quick spoiler alert. But here's the thing, the first question, did God create ego? Well, according to Sri Ramakrishna, God did create ego. They say in Hinduism, well, first of all, if you have not been exposed to the teachings of Hinduism, their view of reality is, this reality is divinity. There is the one fundamental source, God, appearing separate, but never actually becoming it. If this is unclear, it's like water is the substance of the ocean and the waves. It's only ever been water, is water, will ever be water. Water appears as ocean and appears as waves in the ocean. See what I'm saying? The one fundamental source appearing as waves, ocean, whirlpools, bubbles, it's only been water, is water, will ever be water. That's how they view God in Hinduism. Now, it's very complex. I'm not going to make this video about that, but that's the paradigm they're viewing reality from. Another way to look at it is the dream paradigm. Your one undivided conscious mind, when you're in deep sleep, appears as a blank. Then it appears as a dream. Then it goes back to a blank when you go back into deep sleep. And then it appears as a dream when you start dreaming again. Your mind generates appearances and then appears as a blank. Blankness, appearance. Blankness, appearance. But it's only ever your one undivided mind doing this. So that's the kind of mindset you need to get into with these teachings of Hinduism. Now, why did God create ego? Sri Ramakrishna said, this is God's play. This reality is God's play. There is only God appearing separate, so God can only play with God. A disciple asked him this though. He said, oh, it might be play for God, but it's death to us. God's having a good time playing, but we're suffering, we're dying. Which Sri Ramakrishna, without hesitating, replied, well, who are you? At which point this disciple or listener fell silent because they knew what Sri Ramakrishna was driving at. The core of you is God, is divinity. There is only God appearing separate. And I'm not going to make this a non-dual lecture, but don't let your ego take this understanding and go, oh, I'm God. This person's God. No. Don't view it like that. But in any case, God created ego to play. This also leads into the teachings of free will, which I talk about a lot on this channel, which is when God gave all of us the appearance of ego, it gives us the feeling of separation. It gives us the feeling of, I'm here, things are there, and if I grab those things, I'll be happy. Because we feel separate. The ego makes us feel separate and think we're separate. It also gives us the feeling of free will. I could freely move around this world, freely do right, freely do wrong, no problem. The illusion of free will, perfect. And there's many reasons for that too, which I won't elaborate in this video. But basically, yes, God gave us the ego. God made us feel separate. God gave us the feeling of free will. Why? So God can play with God. We're basically all method actors in this reality. What is a method actor if you don't know? Someone that really believes the role they're playing, like an Al Pacino. Method actors are the best actors because they take the role home with them. They play the role in the movie, then take it home with them. That's how they embody the character. And who would be the best method actor of all? God. God would be the best method actor of all. God's playing all the roles. God's playing the role of the good person, the bad person. God has written the movie, directed the movie, is playing all the characters and watching the movie. This is the view of it in Advaita Vedanta, non-duality. So the ego was created by God. Now, the second question Steve was asking was, is getting rid of ego the job of the ego too? Yes, it is. This is why they say in Advaita Vedanta, non-duality, the one that's trying to kill the ego, destroy the ego, is the ego. So what are you meant to do then? What's the point of spiritual teachings then? If I can't kill it, what are we doing? Taking it back to this actor example again, all you need to see is through the illusion of ego. This would be like, just say let's make it up in a creative example. You're an actor in a movie, but you're not that good. Even the director thinks, this guy's not that good. He's not very convincing. And the director's thinking, look, if this guy doesn't clean up his act, we need to replace him. He's not very convincing. Now, just say you as this actor that were trying to act but not very good, you went on a lunch break and for some reason or another, something hit you on the head. Something tapped you on the head. And for some reason, that tapping on the head made you forget that you're acting and you really believe the role you're playing. You've become a method actor. Such a method actor that, come on, even an Al Pacino, no matter how good he is, deep down must know, I'm Al Pacino, being a method actor. But this actor has been tapped on the head, literally believes this is their role. In the movie, they're complaining about how their son is causing them stress. When that scene of the movie's over and they go home, they start telling their wife, oh, our son is really stressing me out. And the wife's like, Frank, if his name was Frank, we don't have a son, we've got daughters. And he's like, no, what are you calling me Frank for? My name's Tim, and we have a son. He's stressing us out. The wife would start thinking, this guy's a little bit nuts. My husband, what the hell happened? The reason I'm mentioning this is because this actor, Frank, got tapped on the head, thinks he's Tim, because that's the role he's playing in the movie. He really believes he's Tim. He really believes his thoughts and feelings about Tim. What's this got to do with us? What's this got to do with our ego? Our ego makes us feel like we're a method actor. We're born with ego. We're born with original sin, as they say in Christianity. So this ego does three things. Gives this one undivided reality the appearance of separation, ultimately no problem. It also gives us the sense of ownership and control. These last two is where it really causes us ultimately imaginary suffering. But when you feel you're suffering, when you think you're suffering, it's real. So you can't spiritually bypass and ignore this. If you feel like you're suffering, you are suffering. Ultimately, you realize it's imagined, but when you're feeling it, it's real. So take it to be real. So this ownership and control the ego gives us can be seen through as an illusion. And that's the whole point of spirituality too. Ultimately, in the big scheme of things, ego is no problem. It gives the appearance of separation, ownership and control. But once you see through the illusion of it, once you, as this actor Tim, somehow regains memory of, oh, I'm actually Frank acting out Tim, the Tim character doesn't have to stop. The Tim character needs to read the lines out, get involved in the role. So why am I mentioning this, guys? It's because this is the whole point of spirituality. Of Advaita Vedanta, at least, they don't say you need to kill the ego. All they're saying is you need to see through the illusion of identity, see through the illusion of ego, and then you're free, while the character still continues. The ego is required. It's a function of this body and mind complex. The ego is such a gift. If you had no ego, do you remember anything from the age of before you were 2 years old? In other words, before the age of about 2 or 3, you're in the pre-egoic state. You're one with all reality. But here's the catch, you don't know it. The ego gives you self-awareness as well. The ego gives you that feeling of, whoa, I'm alive. Beautiful. What's the point of feeling one with all reality if you're not aware of it? Which is like what animals are feeling and babies. So the ego gives you this feeling of, whoa, I'm alive. But the bad thing about ego is it makes you by default think, I'm alive, I'm separate, I'm in control, I'm here, people are there. That's the bad part. But spiritual practice is taking it one step further. The ego gives you the appearance of separation, good. Now you need to see through the appearance of separation. And then all this lines up. It's so beautiful. You can experience reality. You can experience the miracle of existence, but not take it serious anymore. So you don't have to kill the ego. Just see it's part of this body-mind complex. Realize this person you thought you were is acting a life, is acting a role, living a life, which still continues once you see through the illusion, but you're going to have a sense of humor. You're not going to take all this so serious at the fundamental level. On the level of appearance, yes, you take care of family, you go to the doctor, you go to work, but deep down, you know it's ultimately not you. This is just a character. Have a bit of fun. Don't take life so serious. That is the key to ending your suffering. That's all they're trying to teach you in Advaita Vedanta and other traditions as well. But I'm well versed in the teachings of Advaita Vedanta, so I only can speak from that place. Even Sri Ramakrishna said, there's the unripe ego, which needs to turn into the ripe ego. What is the ripe ego in a devotional sense? He spoke about it in the devotional sense and the non-dual sense. The ripe ego in the devotional sense goes from, I'm living life, that's the unripe ego. My life, my will. When it ripens, it turns into a devotional mindset. Not my will, God, but yours. I freely use my free will to surrender it to you. Whatever you want to happen, God, I'm your instrument. You've created me, are going to use me and discard me when you're done. Total surrender to God. This is the ripe ego in a devotional sense. And you'll find peace if you follow this. If you've got a lot of love in your heart, a lot of devotion, you'll find peace. Guaranteed with this path. But if you've got the questioning mindset, like me, always why? I need to be intellectually convinced. Why? This can be a curse, by the way. But if you're so inclined, what is the ripe ego in Advaita Vedanta? You develop two eyes. What does that mean? You already think, I am this person by default. We all do. I'm this person. That's it. End of story. What does developing the second eye mean? It means you shift the reference of the I that you thought you were back a step. If you see my videos, I've got a playlist on Advaita Vedanta for beginners that I've started where I talk about the witness state first and foremost. When you realize the witness state, that is realizing your true I, the bigger I in quotes. To give you the feel of this, if you're new to these teachings, just picture this was a dream right now, and you're a dream character in the dream. Your true self would be outside the dream, dreaming this up. Your true I is outside the dream, totally transcends the dream. Your pseudo self, ego self, is this person, living the life. So you shift the reference of the I from this person to that person, or that. Tat Twamasi, thou art that. That's what they say in Hinduism. One of the 4 Mahavakyas. The reference of the I shifts from here to that. But you still use this regular I when you talk to people. As a monk, I love it how he said it. Because picture a monk, with the Indian accent, in the orange robe, monkish, because he's a monk. I love what he said. He goes, after enlightenment, don't be weird. Continue to speak like everyone else. It was just so funny because you expect a monk not to use words like that. Don't be weird after enlightenment. Speak like everyone else. It was so funny. It threw me off in a good way. It made me crack up. But exactly, once you realize your true self, once you've opened up that dimension of your being, you still need to talk like a normal person. I'm a person living a life. You still need to use the regular I, while deep down knowing the true I. And again, it'll bring you so much peace, surrender, completeness, feeling of oneness, just like if your mindset is devotional in nature, will bring the same effect. Pick what works for you. If you're really devoted, have a lot of love in your heart, surrender to a God. If you're more intellectually inclined, study Advaita Vedanta. But also, you know what? Even when you study Advaita Vedanta, you still need love. Because you can get so intellectual. I had this problem for many years. So much knowledge, but I wasn't feeling oneness. The feeling of oneness comes from love, devotion, service to either a God or just reality in general. If it's all the one self, and you are that self, on the level of appearance, I'm a small self, and this is all a bigger self, isn't it? So devote to the bigger self. But in any case, guys, Steve, I hope this answered your question. What the ego is, why God created it, and How you don't have to kill it. You just need to see through the illusion of it. And my phone keeps buzzing. What's this about? Okay. I need to go. I've got other things to attend to. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching, liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing. All the beautiful stuff, you beautiful people. See you in the next one. Take care.